Welcome to Delightfully Dysfunctional, a podcast about navigating the emotions of the human condition and the challenges that come with it. I'm Keilani Persian Mason, a psychotherapist and life coach with James Timmons, an ever-curious human. This is not a replacement for mental health therapy. Please seek out mental health care if that's what you're needing. This is an opportunity for self-healers to dive deep and understand more about themselves. I'm Keilani, this is James, and you're listening to Delightfully Dysfunctional.
We started off a little dysfunctional there.
Oh, we did. I'm tired today. I don't know, this week I've been exhausted, but I'm pulling through. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
And let's see, is this now our second podcast of the new year? Did we podcast? Or is this our first podcast of 2024? This is our first one.
It might be, yeah.
Yes.
Because this is the first week, and
Yes.
we're only 5 days in.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, welcome.
Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year. Wow, it's been such a blur. The blur between Christmas and New Year's.
I know. Monday was New Year's Day. It feels so long ago.
It does.
Gosh, it's been so...
Something's up with this week. I'd like to, I don't know.
I think...
Cosmically. What's in retrograde? I don't know.
I think the trauma of last year, we're recovering. And so this year we're trying to or at least me, I'm just talking.
Okay,
I shouldn't say we. You're don't speak for me on this shit. But trying to look forward with hope while just having survived a really horrible year is, so then that made this week go by slow, I guess.
Okay.
That's my take.
Okay. I think it's also, the days are starting to get a little bit lighter. You can already kind of tell, which is the only exciting thing about January and February, because otherwise they're just gray and kind of bland. But yeah, I think the gray days can still bring a lot of exhaustion, and you just start slowing down a little bit.
And it's slow cold and uncomfortable. Yeah.
So I have a topic for us today that's kind of tied to some of what we're talking about. It's slow, you're more exhausted.
Yeah.
And it's a topic that I know already brings you discomfort.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stillness. The topic of stillness.
Yeah. Well,
what do you think of when you think of stillness?
Actually, ironically, it doesn't make me uncomfortable.
Oh, okay.
Because that's probably been one of the top 3 lessons I've learned in the last couple of years is patience.
Mm-hmm.
But unwelcomed patience, But my whole life has been to try I get ambitious about things, and I get I start dreaming about things, and I immediately want results. But then I've shared several times that I've learned that success is mostly achieved through slow incremental progress. So that forcing myself to sit still and be hopeful that 1 inch is still forward motion, and that's better than nothing.
Stillness means allowing your brain to not be distracted and giving it some space to contemplate.
Yeah.
Giving it some space for creativity, sometimes problem solving.
Yeah.
And ultimately the hope would be, in that space of stillness, I guess the reason why I thought maybe it brought some discomfort, we've talked about bedtime and the kind of, that's when the scaries or the fears for the day or the things that have been on your mind and unsettled might arise. And that's still where stillness can be found, in a sense of, this piece is making me uncomfortable. I'm aware of this thought.
Yeah.
And how can I tame that thought in my stillness? Or how can I express compassion and understanding to that part?
Yeah.
Because I think for so many years of my life, I can totally understand the sensation of being so overcome by shame or guilt or fear in the evening that stillness feels uncomfortable. Being still with myself is a scary or dangerous place.
So being present in the feelings.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's part of stillness. Yeah.
I actually shared this reel this morning about addiction Teal. I can't remember her last name. She's really popular on Instagram. She's like a mental health lady.
Okay.
And she basically says she's talking to some guy on stage in front of a bunch of people, you could tell. And he says, after this, I'm gonna go home and smoke a bag of weed or something. She goes, okay, that's foul. She goes, but you want to know what's even more effective is like leaning into like what's underneath that. Why do you want to escape? She goes, I totally get that you want to escape. Your life has been horrendous. This is what she said. And then, she was like, but the only way through it is to sit in your shame. And so that's great. That reminded me of everything you're talking about right now. So.
But sitting with our shame, if we are unguided or we don't,
she said with someone,
right?
Yeah,
I mean, like, I just don't know anyone who knows how to do it naturally, and so that's why I say with someone. It's not that anyone is incapable. I just think we need some training to get there. I've had to seek that out, or have had to find it through books, and my nerdiness has helped me, I suppose. But to sit down with someone, hopefully, because to your own devices, if you're untrained in that, you could succumb to kind of these whisperings of your mind saying really negative and critical things, just like in the reaction video we watched to the Ren video. There was a lot of that piece, that element of, you're a fraud, like, who do you think you are? That type of energy that if we were to believe that is not beneficial to us or to anyone else. It's just zero sum. No one's winning. When we can develop a compassionate, which is what I love about parts work, a compassionate dialogue, and we can like view it as there's a part of me. So instead, in the evening, like part of stillness and incorporating some IFS, which is just a dash I decided to throw in. It wasn't the intention for the episode, but like in the evening, there's that anxious part coming up or that critical part for you to start to view it as a part. Oh, there's a part of me that's feeling this way. I'm going to be curious about that.
Yeah.
Why are you curious about that? Like, why are you feeling that way? Do you really think that bad thing could happen? Could you be curious about what we're actually capable of doing in the face of adversity?
Yeah.
Could you be curious about, the possibilities that are coming? And that part will start to, instead of being like so inflamed and fearful, it will start to tame. And you might feel a settling or even a camaraderie. Yeah. Instead of it being so pokey. Yeah. We want to be cuddly so you can fall asleep, right?
Right.
I don't know. Does that resonate at all with you?
Totally. I can feel the gears turning. I know that I had a thought that really relates to that earlier this week, but I don't remember. I know that
you had mentioned something about addiction, right? That the post was related to addiction.
Yeah.
So the and you explained, so like the man who was going to go and smoke pot, like for a lot of people too, like I think asking yourself, why am I wanting to do this? What's familiar about this that feels safe? Mm-hmm. Oh, it helps me feel like I can set aside my stress for the day, or it helps me feel like I can be more present, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. And then to ask that part, well, why don't you feel like you can have that? Yeah. Right. Why do you feel like you need this to get there? And that can help guide you again through maybe some layers, because most addiction is from childhood trauma of like a need not being met and needing to either numb that or escape from it. But I think that there's a lot of good questioning, rich questioning, and really profound personal growth that happens in stillness, and only happens in stillness. Yeah. And we're in this culture that wants a magic pill, right? They want an instant fix for it, and they want to work around the idea of stillness. That's too uncomfortable. I don't want to do that. Yeah,
I totally agree. Everything. Because, the whole idea of escape, that's usually the first place that we turn, and it can be through like suppression or drugs or something. But the only way to you have to face the thing that because the stuff that you're always trying to escape from, those things are persistent. Yeah. And so like at some point you're either gonna die or you have to face the things that have been pursuing you. And what's going to happen is it's going to be painful, but you're going to become more resilient. And like and when she mentioned like having somebody go through it with you, I learned that I feel like I have learned how to be that friend to walk with somebody in that, because like just the two things that should be present are, we always say compassion and curiosity. And because everyone, or most people, I feel like are just like conditioned to always want to numb the thing or cure it or find a solution.
So, and I mean, we want to find a solution, but I think they overlook that the solution is within them if they were to be still.
Yeah, the solution exactly is leaning into it and facing it.
Yeah. And that's exactly again what came up in the reaction video we just did. It was saying over and over, like, I'm taking some time to be still. Like he was like, I'm trying to say it even in the cadence of the song, but I don't remember the other lyrics. But that's so important. And so I love this Brene Brown quote as well. Stillness is not about focusing on nothingness. It's about creating an emotional clearing to allow ourselves to think, feel, dream, and question. Isn't that perfect?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful definition.
I love Brene, Queen Bee.
Queen Bee.
But
she's our Queen Bee.
Yeah. We haven't quoted her for a while, but
I know. We got to bring her back.
I know. We need to bring her on. I've taken the last few weeks, I've been sober, haven't drank any alcohol.
Good job.
Thank you. And it has been great.
Yeah.
For my clarity and my ability to be still.
Yeah.
Because like even when you drink recreationally and you're not intending to escape, you do.
Oh yeah.
Just kind of escape. You numb everything.
You can't really get to the same mental space where stillness works at its best.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You have to be fully conscious. Right,
because this is kind of, I mean, like if you think about it as a nervous system function, alcohol fuzzies it up.
Yeah.
And we kind of need our best tools in that space, in that mental clearing, as Brene Brown described it.
Well, it's like an immune system where the immune system only works when an invasion comes. And then, like, if you've like suppressed, if you hidden like your white blood cells, and they're like not operating, but you have like some, I don't know, waxy layer that the virus can sort of pass through.
This is so okay, good. I get it.
But like, the only way the immune system gets stronger is when it's attacked. And
I think that we've eliminated a lot of our training ground with the constant exposure to distractions and electronics.
Yeah.
And I want to like say that I'm also guilty. I'm a work in progress. I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm not consistently charging my phone away from my bed. And I want to be honest about that. It is still a goal I have. That's one piece that has been tricky, but
for shame.
I know. Shame. But I mean, we wake up and we immediately grab our phone to look at what's going on, and that's not healthy. I will say that isn't the first thing I do in the morning, but the temptation with it being by my bed is not something that I like. And I want us to get into like these numbered points, because I know we can go off on tangents and it's so much fun, but then I'm like, did any of our numbers make sense? Maybe I didn't even say them in order. So stress reduction is the first part. It shifts our nervous system from fight or flight response, and it helps reduce our overall stress. But I guess I wanted to caveat a little bit about like the process that gets you to the point of benefiting from the stress reduction means like working through some of the uncomfortable parts or knowing how to have a dialogue with them. Otherwise, it probably does feel uncomfortable to be alone with your thoughts. Improved mental clarity, enhanced emotional well-being, increased self-awareness. Yes, totally. If we're self-aware, it's like we are fine-tuning our compass so we know what direction to go. It improves that decision-making. Better sleep. So if those things are off of my mind and tucked away, then I can sleep better if I feel like there's some resolution that I've been able to find mentally. Enhanced creativity. This is something I think that you've been saying, that you've been feeling more creative, or like you've been writing more.
Yeah. I think I've been less afraid
Less afraid.
to lean it, because
Yeah.
and I can.
Do you think part of it is that have you been dabbling with more time in that place of stillness, especially
Yeah.
without alcohol? Is that something that's allowed you more space
I
to be
think
creative?
I think it's just like, yeah, I don't know,
That's okay. That's okay.
but yeah, that might be it. Go.
You're all good. And improved physical health from stillness, because it promotes relaxing and stress reduction, and it can just contribute to overall better physical health, because we've talked about stress being a top killer. It is like the main ingredient in the top illnesses and diseases that are taking people out. Not only that, again, I want to like go back to just social media and that effect on our attention, and who that's really affecting the most. It breaks my heart, but it's teenagers, right? Teenagers are missing out very much on really, and kids, on understanding what it means to be still and not viewing boredom as bad.
Yeah.
Or viewing like boredom or stillness as something that needs to be solved somehow or removed. And when that happens, then we see poor sleep. We see that be an issue, which is going to contribute to poor mental health. And sadly, increased anxiety and depression. We're noticing that. And right now, suicide is the number 3 cause of death for teens.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
It's terrifying, especially as a parent. And so being able to help our children practice some stillness too, I think that that's an important thing. And that really comes from us first finding it. So whatever you're wanting your children to improve on, I think a great first step is, well, am I doing that to the best of my abilities? Am I, regulating my emotions the way that I could? Am I responding the way that I could? Recently, I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent, but I was listening to a podcast, and they're talking about like losing their phone and like going on a date without having their phones. And I started like laughing to myself a little bit. And then, like, what are the things you would need if you had a planned date out without a phone? You would need, if you want to take pictures, right, you'd need to have like
a camera,
camera of some sort. You'd need, you might need a map.
Yeah.
If it's a new city, you might need a map.
Yeah.
You might, right? And then I started thinking about like, what adventures could you go on if you didn't have your phone to like plan out where you were going next? Because so often, at least Zach and I were foodies. It's like, where are we going to go? What has the best ratings? Are they open? Oh, this place, I found this place. Maybe you're not, but we're like,
that'd be fun.
Ooh. Yeah, and it is fun. It's fun to go out to eat in the city with us. We like to find all the yummy foods. But does that always mean that that's the best experience? Because you can have a really fun time wandering around a city and like finding wherever to eat and be equally as surprised or even more so. There could be possibilities there because you are having to be in the present moment that are so much more richer and beautiful than, the idea or the control that you place on needing to have the yummiest cupcake in town or whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I want to play on this scenario too, because like back in the day, when you were visiting another town,
right?
You would go to the person at the front desk of the hotel and go like,
ask.
Yeah, like, what are some good places around here? Like, there's a barbecue, and you're like, how do you get there? And then you and whoever you're with, you guys figure it out, and you arrive, and you're present. You like are team collaborating together on how to get there,
And that's the thing that that is also a part of stillness is that you might be more like socially acceptable behavior might be easier. That's not the way I want to say it. Socially acceptable, like pro-social behavior, meaning, I actually talked to a human. Yeah. Right? Because like we have such access to technology and ease with simplicity of finding services and what we need that you could go a day without talking to a human if you really wanted to.
For sure.
And that's not healthy.
No.
So to be able to like strike up conversation. And if I were to ask someone at the front desk, just like, what is it that you like about the city? Yeah. What do you want to do? And show genuine interest. I'm also seeing them as a human being in a different way than if I'm like, thanks for my key, bye.
Right. Yeah, and especially like right now, you're making eye contact with me.
Yeah.
Like that would be like, oh my gosh, she's looking at my eyeballs.
Oh, they
that's
see me.
So weird,
right? Because I mean, I think to be working in the service industry would be harder now than ever before. Again, because so many people are like distracted and tired,
like
and
most
like
people
looking
walk over to the
down,
desk, like with their phone. Hey,
sure.
can you tell me how? Or
Yeah, it's the human connection that we crave, and
Yeah.
it's the thing that lights all of us up. Even the people who say they don't like humans, I think they don't like the anxiety of navigating social situations more than anything.
Yeah.
Or there's such discomfort with being in the world because there's depression in place and wanting to hide from the world, but we need that social connection. We are wired for it. So anyways, this idea of being able to go on a date, which we're all able to do without a phone, but like then we have these. We're also planning Oakley's 13th birthday party. I can't believe it. It's going to be like a murder mystery party.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You're invited, James.
Oh, thank you.
And, there's these packages for it. And so then my mind is also thinking and we like escape games, escape rooms. I'm like, how freaking silly that it would kind of feel like a survivalist kind of game to just go on a date without a phone in a city. Right?
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I got a little bit of a giggle because it made me laugh. Like, for real, there's an element of it that is like, when we don't have our phone, we also feel a little bit like naked and like, well, what do I do now? I don't like, that was my go-to problem solution instead of stillness.
Yeah.
I've been relying on the phone instead of just stillness and observation and being mindful and like, like being in the world in the present. Yeah, it was a funny thought. And I now am at a phase too where I'm excited when I lose my phone.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
sitting
no
here
rush.
thinking like, man, next date I go on, we're going to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
right?
well, and you can even leave your phone. Well, no, I was going to say leave it in the car, but then like
I think even the temptation of the notification or the ding, if you hear it, or just knowing that it's there, like it feels different. So I'm actually glad that you brought that up because me thinking about that is like, no, I want it farther away.
Yeah, leave it at home.
Now your date might be scared. They should bring a phone maybe because there's just like dating danger with women. They'll feel scared if you're like, don't bring a phone. Come with me.
Yeah, just trust me. Don't bring your phone.
Don't bring your phone. You don't. I have this map.
I just won't bring my phone.
Yeah, don't bring your phone. You can share the idea, and
But
hopefully,
she can leave it in the
if
car.
they're excited, then they can engage with it, or at least like turn it off and put it away to be present.
Yeah.
So there's my like.
I love that idea.
Little cute idea for anyone and you do it with a friend too. Like if you're single, you're not interested in dating, whatever your situation is, this could be a very fun activity with friends. Maybe even, just do something playful and fun with no agenda.
Yeah.
So there's like a way that stillness can be made fun. It doesn't have to be something that feels hard, because there's a problem-solving element in that. And then a spiritual connection, So there's this better decision-making, but more than that, there's a spiritual connection because what's guiding you, I believe, is, a sense of a higher version of yourself or a sense of connection to something bigger than yourself. When we can be still, we can find that voice. And I think so many of us are being ruled by parts that are defensive and protective, that we've lost how to find the voice that's really trying to guide us and usually guiding us to do good, to be kind, to be loving to ourselves, to others. That's really important because that's where the joys of life can be found. That's where the keys to navigating life well and in a fulfilling way, that's where the nuggets are.
Yeah. There's, you just reminded me of this other reel that I watched from the same lady this morning, Teal, whatever. I need to figure out her last name. But it's funny because she says something, she does not have the same worldview as C.S. Lewis, who I'm about to quote, but they both basically say kind of the same thing. And that is that you cannot desire something unless like it exists. And so like the desires inside of you, they exist in like the metaphysical, is that the right? But they haven't yet become physical because you're supposed to create them.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, that's a really cool. Yeah, I love the verbiage of that. But exactly that there is. That's what I'm like. That special spice.
Yeah.
There is a purpose that we have. I think each person has.
Yeah.
And for some people, that purpose, and no one purpose is greater or more important than the other, which means the person pushing the shopping cart, their purpose, whatever that may be, whether they found it or not, is not more or less important than Beyonce's purpose on this earth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our ability to find it. And that also doesn't mean that Beyonce's found her purpose in this earth. Who am I to say? Like, she's a beautiful, amazing singer. She
beautiful.
Certainly entertains us all. Her internally would be the only one to be able to tell us if that's the case.
Yeah.
My guess would be yes, because she's also seems to enjoy herself.
Yeah, she's definitely doing it.
But I'm just saying that caveat because with the same logic, if we were to look at the homeless person and say, oh, they clearly haven't found their purpose, like they're not doing well. Maybe their purpose is giving back to their community and their people, and they have a small group of people that they serve and that they're there for, right? There's so much nuance and like, you know, one person who really strives to do so much and achieve so much in work, their purpose isn't more important than the one person who wants to stay at home and be with the kids.
Yeah.
So just to give that little caveat, and when we can connect and find in that stillness, that higher power for like what it is that we want. And I've been doing a lot of this myself because it's like, what is it that I want? I love my work. I love my job, but there are elements that can feel like they throw me out of balance, and I'd like more balance. I'd like more time with family. So like, what is it that I want? I have to sit with that over and over again. What is it that I need?
Yeah.
What am I needing? What am I wanting more of? What am I wanting more of? What am I wanting less of?
Right. Yeah, and like the whole connection with like the universe, that reel that Teal was a part of. She mentioned that like the universe is expanding, you know, and it made me have like a thought of like, what if the expansion of the universe is dependent on the expansion of our like.
Consciousness.
Consciousness.
I love that consciousness is coming up because I thought about being the topic for today's podcast, and I was like, oh, that's too big to tackle, but it's just naturally coming up. Yeah. I think that that's a really cool thought because there's so much about the universe that we don't understand.
Yeah. And
we're still understanding so much about just life.
Yeah.
But And we're made out of stardust, you know, like we're all made out of the same ingredients and the same things. And so I think that there's some fun thoughts to play around within that. Yeah. And that's one of them.
Yeah, that was the beginning of a thought. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really interesting to like, not only not be afraid to lean into like stillness and your desires, but that like the world depends on it, you know? So like you have a responsibility.
You have a responsibility. And I think that we lack a sense of responsibility overall. And this is an important piece. This is actually a piece that pulled me through when I realized this when I was like in high school and I was really depressed. It was like, no, there's a responsibility I have to share this.
Yeah.
Like I can't like to stay this way or to make myself small. It's not just not doing it's not that it doesn't serve me, it's that it doesn't serve a greater purpose.
Right.
And there's a sense of that. Okay, as we close out today, I just have a quick poem I want to read too. It's called The Joneses, and it's from Let Us Dance. The Joneses gathered the neighborhood around them to finally let them in on the messy, endearing, humanizing truth in their own hearts. Enough with the act, y'all. Let's get real. You gotta stop trying to keep up with us. We can barely keep up with ourselves. It's all looked put together on the outside, but on the inside, our minds are unmowed lawns. Our inner child is a dropout. Our nervous system is full of weeds and chipped paint. We haven't taken the trash out in our childhood conditioning for years. And it's really starting to build up. This world, our big neighborhood, could use a good long break from facade. So what say we all just cut the bullshit and just try to keep up with accepting every bit of ourselves as our worthy, messy hearts do their stumbling best.
I love that. Yeah, the keeping up with the Joneses, and like we're hearing from the Joneses, like, don't keep up with us. Like, we're not perfect. Don't, you're projecting a lot.
Yeah.
And that's funny because like
this is like from their wise self speaking, right? Don't do what my human self is doing. Like, see that there are flaws in the system, and like we all just need to love each other better.
Well, and that's the thing that has like prevented me from really going after like the desires of my heart, is because I'm afraid that other people are not going to like believe in me or something. And it's crazy because it's like we all do this like really ridiculous dance where we're trying to like live by the projected standards of other people, when in reality that's what they're doing, that's what everyone's doing, or most people.
And, I just realized this too. I'm so sorry I interrupted.
No,
but how silly that we're putting that like so much more weight on that perceived idea than on the known truth that we find within ourselves. We're saying, oh, the perceived idea that person could think that I'm too much.
Yeah.
And I don't even know that.
Yeah.
And they don't pay my bills. And they don't really know what's in my heart. And I know what's in my heart and what I feel and what I know I need to put into the world, but I'm going to make it small.
Right. It's like it's suppression. It's an oppression.
Yeah.
It's like a self-oppression.
It is.
That is the enemy.
And of course, then there's going to be angry, frustrated, hurt, scared parts that come out because you're crushing a dream.
Right. You're betraying yourself.
You're betraying yourself. It is a self-betrayal.
Yeah.
I came in touch with fully understanding that at one point and was like, I got to get out of this situation.
Right.
This is strangling me. There's no good here.
Yeah, so like live with a rebel heart.
Oh, live with a rebel heart. I liked that, James. That was so good. Oh, wow. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on this episode of Delightfully Dysfunctional. Please like, subscribe, smash that subscribe button. Write into us if you would like to have advice. And please remember, I am so excited to provide the opportunity with Dr. Sabrina Hadid to do a medicine retreat in March 7th through the 10th. This includes 2 ketamine sessions, a legal psychedelic, and we're doing this for the intended use of expedited or just wholehearted opportunity to do some deep dive inner healing. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be such an important space, and I would love for you to join me there. Please check the link in the bio for some more information, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye-bye. Bye.